So, hello everyone. My name is Patrick. I'm a fourth year computer science student. I'm very much interested in the field of RF security and radio frequency stuffs. So that made me very much curious about the understand what is actually happening in the world of RF computer science student. So you can contact me. So you can contact the following social networks, and so that you can ask the doubt. Okay. So as you can see, this is my. So basically, our topic is radio frequency and hacking. So let's start. So there are different types of radio frequency. So from very low frequency, it starts, and it's the maximum range is super high frequency. So actually, what's happening is that in different frequency range, the different devices is working. Some is used for airplane tracking and the communication purpose and all. So as the frequency range varies, all the different devices works in different frequencies. Okay, so that's the basic concept of the idea about radio frequency and stuff like that. Okay, so is RF safe? So as you can see, as radio frequency transmitted over the air is more vulnerable because it can be accessed by anyone. Okay, so even if you are like even if you give an input, the connection and protected against eavesdropping, the encryption which contains the data is clear. Actually, here the encryption is the data contains clear is said because some hackers were able to understand, like hack into the Microsoft keyboard because the encryption which they are included was not that much secure because many hackers were able to easily like encrypt the data, decrypt the data, and read what all these reports were. So that was the main thing. Uh, okay, so what happened was that even if even if there is encryption for the wireless keyboard, it was actually decrypted by some other hackers. So even if it's encrypted, the encryption and all is like it's a fast one. So there is no updation for that. And so likewise, there are like wireless SSD by which we can send data wirelessly and store it in the SSD. So we don't need to plug it in the computer and all. So we just need a phone or any kind of that kind of things. Just it will work wirelessly. So it basically work on the Wi-Fi range, which is too vulnerable to the Wi-Fi attacks, as we all know, who are like very much interested in the Wi-Fi hackings and radio frequency stuffs. So as like the wireless printer also, you can see here, it's also more vulnerable because many people are using wireless printer because it's more convenient than opting for the wired one, because wireless is like it will be like very much easy to use, just plug and use over Wi-Fi networks. So that is also more vulnerable to the Wi-Fi attacks, as anyone can do the man-in-the-middle attack and inject data into the printer and do disturbing stuffs. So that's more vulnerable to all the wireless devices. You can see wireless systems, even if security system, there is so main advantage is that it's portable. As you can see in this image, the CCTV camera is it's like there is no wires, right? It's just wireless. So what's happened? So what we just need to do is that we just need to just plug it, like the wireless camera into the wall, and it's ready to go because there are like all the hardware system is inside embedded in this module itself. So what happening is that we just need to attach our cord to work to work the this wireless camera. So this wireless camera will like launch the Wi-Fi from the produced Wi-Fi, and we can connect to the camera, and we can just use like an online environment. And as you can see, it is easy to install. We don't need anyone else to just come and fix it to our wall and all. As you can see, the burglar alarm also, it's just the company provide their own software and their own hardware. So it's easy just to like plug and play. So that's very much easy, and it's very much like reliable because it can be accessed remotely. So we don't need any server setup or any computer setup and all. Our phone is phone is enough to access the wireless system and all the data. So the in tinkering system, it's like, as you can see in this image, there are different kind of wireless systems attached, like smart lighting, the burglar alarm, the locks. So everything is like very smart. So it can be also, so as tinkering is concerned, we can add or remove the hardware, even if it's a light. If you're supposed to have removing or adding a light, it will not affect the other rest of the devices, because all the devices connected interconnected, and it's like parallel connection. So even if one device gets damaged or if you are removing, the other device will be affected. So that's the next part. So the negative side is that it's less secure. So, for example, you can see in this image, the hacker is trying to intercept or hack the wireless camera's data. So what's happening is that this hacker can uh, make a video loop. Okay, suppose if the video camera is facing this house, right? So what hacker can do is that he can just like make a video loop. Okay, a loop of video in which the house is like standing still. So after recording that data, he can inject the data into the wireless camera. So the people who is actually monitoring this Wi-Fi camera will be only able to see the repeated loop, and the motion, like the image will be, the camera motions will be like in a video loop. The people who is actually surveilling will not be confused, because when they are seeing that all the surroundings like trees and everything is like moving, so they won't feel any suspicious. So it's more vulnerable, right? If video loop is like recorded and injected into the wireless system, it's more vulnerable. And the next problem is it's like limited distance access. So the wireless system, as you can see, for a Wi-Fi also there's a range, right? So if you are out of that range, we cannot do it. So as you can, so that's the main problem, the wireless system. And so the next thing is spoofing can be done easily. As spoofing is concerned, spoofing is a main term which is used in Wi-Fi and rest of the thing in web application securities. So in wireless system, it can be done. Actually, Wi-Fi is also a radio frequency only. It works on 2.4 gigahertz, and some works at 5 gigahertz and also. So most of the Wi-Fi which everyone is using is like 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, so that's the main problem. So the problem is that if a hacker is able to analyze the Wi-Fi signal, and he can just analyze who all are connected into the network. So if he is able to analyze like there are many people, if and the hacker want to get into the access of the Wi-Fi system, he can spoof the MAC address of any person who is connected to the wireless system. Okay. So the wireless system is more vulnerable, and it's vulnerable to MIT attacks. MIT is like who doesn't know it's management. So as you can see in this image, it the management attack. So from ultimate victim is this one. It's normal victim. It will be encryption and what the hacker does that he will actually manage the middle. So he will forcefully like interrupt into business communication, and he blocks it by sending it back to the, and he will force the and victim B to communicate in this path, which is spoof communication. It is not secure, and even if the data can be victim A to victim B, the data will not be. So what all data is transmitted can be easily seen by the hacker. So that's the main problem in this wireless security systems. So there are a lot of other vulnerabilities. So I just picked this one because this is more easy to understand by everyone, and it's more interesting also. As this the recent or the day-to-day, like everyone use this kind of radio frequency devices in their daily lives. That's why I chose this fiber. So first of all, we'll talk about the Wi-Fi hacking. So there are different kinds of Wi-Fi hacking. There are like Wi-Fi password cracking, fake access point, like evil twin type things, and what to say that the PMK attacks. And recently the WPA3 also was launched, but it was also being able to hack by the hackers. So this I chose this crack attack because it's like more interesting. Okay, I will just tell you. Okay, so what's track attack is like, it's a key reinstallation attack. Okay, so what's happening in this one is that we will target a specific Wi-Fi network. So the name of the Wi-Fi network is test network, as you can see in this image. Okay, so in that network, if we want, we can make like we can hack all the devices, or if we are particularly targeting any specific one, we can just give the target name here. Okay, by providing the hash tag and the MAC address of that one. So what's actually happening is that we are making a fake access point, and to that fake access point, the the what to say, the MAC address of the another device is forcefully connected to this network, to a fake access point, and the person who is using the internet, the test network is like using internet also, right? So when we create a fake access point, that guy should be able to use internet, right? So for that we are providing our own internet by enabling internet forward.sh. So by this, what's happening is that we are providing our own internet to the target. Okay, so why we are providing our own network? Because we are providing our own internet, because we are targeting that specific MAC address and that person, right? So we want to know what he's doing. So for that purpose, we are giving our internet and making a fake access point from the original one. And to analyze what is he doing, we first need to use the SSL strip command. Sorry, the SSL strip command. Actually, what SSL strip does is that it actually strip off all the encryption and all the authentication like layers. It will, so all the communication will be without any encryption like that. Okay, so what actually happens is that the victim will be able to use internet, but it will not be in a secure channel. It will be unsecure. So if it's unsecure, it's easy to understand. It is easy to analyze by anyone like who is using like softwares like Wireshark or TC1. By that we can just like easily understand what is he doing. So in that method, it's more vulnerable to that attack also, like in Wi-Fi track attack. So in that one, we don't need to hack into Wi-Fi and all. We can forcefully redirect any victim to our network and provide internet and do an SSL strip. So that's enough. So that's enough for that, to hack into like analyze what that guy is doing in our network. So that's like Wi-Fi crack attack. So next is keyless entry. So beyond Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, there are different forms of radio frequency communications. So which few people are using, which giving much importance as they are not aware of it. So as you can see, radio frequency amplification. So it is mainly used in hotels, office, gym, station and all. Okay, so what's happening is that the RFID tag contains a microchip and which stores the unique ID and the ID, like, and it will get like the ID is like transmitting over antenna which is embedded inside the RFID tag. So I will just show in the next slide. So as you can see, this is the basic structure of an RFID tag. So this is the chip. Okay, in this chip, we are storing all the data which is required by the gym, anything. So this is the chip. So the storage for the chip is like 2 KB because there is nothing to store. And we are not storing anything like that. It's just like personal information like name, address, and something like that, or even just a number also. So for that, 2 KB is more than enough. And what what this antenna does is that it is a medium just used for communicate the chip to the like the reader, the RFID reader. Okay, so that's the main use of this one. Okay, so what's happening is that when we are producing our RFID tag to a reader, the antenna will be sending a radio frequency. Okay, so when the radio frequency is transmitted from the antenna, and when we are taking our like RFID tag and just placing it over it, the antenna will be reading all the data from the tag, and it will check in their database. And it will check in the database to see if the data which is inside the tag is there or not. If the tag is inside that, it can be easily like it will be like if it's for like opening the door and all. It will just tell okay, you can go inside, you can go like that. If the tag which is used by the tag which is used where there is no data in all, the reader will check that also. And what happens is that he will just go to the database and check if the specific tag is there or not. If it's not there, it will not work. So that's the main thing. So the maximum distance by the reader is that it's like 6 to 8 centimeter, and it depends upon the antenna also, because reader is a hardware and antenna is the device by which we can like increase and decrease the range of the to read the data. So that's the main use of this one. So similarly, the NFC is also a part of RFID itself. So what's happening? So in NFC, what's happening is that we can program the NFC chip by our own mobile phones, because there are there are many mobile phones which is NFC enabled phones. So in that we can program the NFC chips by our phone itself. Like if we want, we can add the Wi-Fi password or location or anything like that. We can just transmit from our phone to the NFC tag. So that's the main purpose. And in some credit card, it's not found in India, I guess. In other countries, the credit card are like having the NFC enabled. So what's happening is that if the credit card is enabled with NFC, and if you are swiping, or like if you are keeping the card near to the reader, which is also an NFC enabled, we can do a transaction wirelessly. So the main problem is that this the NFC and RFID is like, if there is no proper encryption, no, it can be easily like cloned. There are many devices which are used for cloning. Okay, as you can see here, these are the devices which are mainly used for cloning, or what to say, testing the encryption, or in many stuff like that. So this kind of hardware is mainly used for like studying about the security and encryption and all for the RFID and NFC cards. So this Proxmark is like a good device. So as you can see in this image, this is like 125 kilohertz, which is a low frequency RFID card, and this is a 13.5 megahertz. It's a high frequency card. It's an ultra high frequency also, but it's not mainly used by anyone. Most of the companies and offices are preferring for the low frequency or maximum the high frequency. That's the main purpose. So the hardware is capable of transmitting and receiving the data. Okay, and depend upon the antenna only, because if you are increasing the range of antenna by providing a big one, then the RFID reader, that is Proxmark, we can transmit the radio frequency to a large range also. So suppose if you are standing in a crowd, and suppose we will consider a scenario of metro station, because metro station when we are going, we will get a card, right? So in that card also, it's like RFID enabled. So when we go and like swipe, when we go and keep near to the RFID reader, the door gets open, right? So that's the main. So in that, what's happening is that the RFID card is like, as we see before slide, the same. So if a guy is having this kind of device with a greater antenna, which is having a much capability to transmit the radio frequency, he can just come near to you and stand near to you, and just he can clone your same card. So what's happening is that when your card will not get affected by that, but the problem is that your same clone will be provided, like he will be able to like clone your same metro card. So the problem is that even if you are using your original one, some other guy will be using the cloned one, and when he's using that, the data will be saved in your name. So it's like very much problem, right? So these are the hardware steps. Okay, so we'll come to automatic garage door opener. So okay, there are many automatic garage door opener, but the main problem is that there is no security related things, because there is no encryption and all, because everyone is using the garage wireless automatic garage door openers because for the convenience, and they are not seeing that there is no security for that. Suppose if someone is able to produce a signal in the same frequency as the garage door opener is required, it will open for sure, because there is no encryption. Just it just required what to say, the same frequency range. So that is only required. So a security researcher known as Sammy Kamker, he was able to hack into this wireless the automatic garage opener with the help of this IMA toy, IME. So actually what's happening is that he found that this toy is having a powerful chip, radio frequency chip, which can be used for communication. So in that way, he was able to hack into it. Okay, so we will see about the cloning virus key fobs. So what's happening in that, in this? Okay, the key fob makes it more easier to unlock things without having a physical key, right? So when everyone is using like radio frequency type devices, they are not preferring the physical key method. Okay, so the problem is that the security range all for this wireless is also not that much secure. As you can see, local smith, there are many local smith around us who provide a secondary like key if we are like approaching them, because we require secondary key in case of if we like lost the original one, right? So in that case, the local smith used to help to make a second one. And there are even online services also that provides the same purpose by just providing our personal details about this car and the service number and what is the serial keys and all. So if and on payment can be done online itself. So if that is providing, it can be done, and they will send us the second key when it's done. And there's another method also. This is actually a key which can be easily accessible by from Amazon, because this is a programmable type wireless key fob. Suppose in this we can just consider in this scenario, this is the original key, and this is the like this is the key fob wireless key, which is like access from which is took from the Amazon. So what's happening is that when we press there is for a wireless key fob, there is like an on and off, like unlock and lock button, right? So when we're pressing this button, it will emit a radio frequency. Okay, and we can choose in which key we should store that data from this key, right? So if you're pressing this one, any key, the frequency, the range, the frequency from which this device is transmitted can be easily stored in this one. So by that, we don't need to depend on local smith or any online services. We can just do it by ourselves. So in that way, we can just easily go. But the problem is that we should be in, like it's been very close range. We're not even close. Okay, so we'll see about the encryption in RF. So encryption is also encoding the information. Like the actually what's happening is that the hackers cannot understand if it's properly encrypted. The encryption key is like suppose if something is encrypted in an RF frequency, only the person who is authorized can only access to it. So as you can see, in a two-way radio, what's happening is that the encryption modifies a voice signal into coding algorithm. So when from point A to point B, when something is transmitted, the at the time of transmitting, it will be a voice signal, but when it's transmitted, that time the voice signal will be completely into changed into coding algorithms. So there are many coding algorithms. So, so what's happening is that the encryption key is used by transmitter. So as I mentioned before, that's the main purpose. What's happening here. So there are different kind of different methods which is used for encrypting voice signals. So I just chose this one because this is more interesting and can be easily understood by everyone. The simple inversion encryption and the hopping inversion encryption. So in simple encryption, what's happening is that this is the actual normal signal. So at the time when it's like transmitted, this is the actual form. So when it's transmitted, the whole signal will directly get inverted. So when so at the time of propagation, the frequency is like 300 hertz. This is the maximum is 300 hertz, but in this place the maximum is 3 kilohertz. So it's like totally changed, right? So even if a hacker is able to intercept the data, he will not be able to like uh, it's like to decrypt it because it's completely changed. So many hackers are like trying to decrypt this kind of like simple inversion encryption and all. So yeah, that's about this one. And the next is hopping inversion encryption. So it is more interesting because it's like it's the hopping inversion. What's happening is that the each node is hopping in an irregular pattern. So let us consider this node. So what's happening is that this node will hop for first second, like it will be like in this range, and second time it will be this. So we cannot predict when this node will come to this place next time. So there is no proper propagation in which this the node will get back to the same state. So it's like completely, the hopping is completely depending on the irregularities. So no one can, so it's more like, it's more hard to decrypt it, because we cannot say when the node will come back to the same position when it was at this time of scanning. So that's the main thing about the hopping in version encryption. So method to hack radio frequencies. So what's happening is that there are different kinds of methods. This is more interesting because like reconnaissance, replay tag jamming, and injecting signals is more interesting because like it's more easily able to understand. So in reconnaissance, what's happening is that it's just normal scanning functionality to know the frequency around us. Because before initiating any attacks, the simple thing is that we should first of all do a reconnaissance. Like we should first scan, because without proper scanning, we cannot like hack into anything. Because suppose if the device is running in different frequency, and we are launching our attack in different frequency, so the device which we're targeting will never get affected, because the frequency is completely different. And even if the frequency, suppose even if we try to without like reconnaissance, even if we are getting the same frequency, there might be some other kind of services running. So it's the base. So it's more important to do the scanning, because it's a basic requirement by which by any hackers to hack into anything, even if it's web application based or anything. Like even if it's like radio frequency and all, the scanning is the basic concept by everyone, which should be initiated. And the replay attack is nothing but it's like valid data transmission is repeated maliciously or delayed. Like the code will be like replayed, even if, so from the actual receiver and transmitter, from the transmitter, even if the like the signal is transmitted, we can just do a replay attack. So I just explained in the later slides. So jamming is known by everyone because it's a common term which we all know. It's like blocking or interference with authorized wireless communication, by which the communication gets interrupted. So everyone knows about it. So okay, and injecting signals is like something different. It's like capturing a data and injecting something malicious into the communication system, by which the authorized person will get like will not understand what's happening. So it's like it's something like different. So let's see about the replay attack. So let's consider in this scenario, this is a normal wireless key fob, and this is this car. This is the car. So by this key fob only we can access this car. So what's happening is that whenever we press a key inside this one, like any keys, there will be a code that's known as rolling code. So that code is actually like one time password. It's like OTP for it's something like OTP. So what's happening is that if once we press a button, the rolling code will be generated, and that rolling code will be understood by this car also. So the car is waiting for the code which should be transmitted from this one. So once if the code is transmitted, the car will also get that one, and it executes the command. Suppose let us consider a scenario where a victim is trying to lock the car. Okay, so what's happening is that suppose the victim is trying to close like to lock the car. What happens is that he will send the rolling code, like he will transmit the locked signal to the car. But what happens is that the hacker which is using a specific kind of device, he was able to jam the signals and the particular frequency as the remote is working. Okay, so first time when the victim presses the lock button, it will not be able to send to the receiver, that is the car, because we are initiating a jamming signal, right? So that time what this device does is that he is able to catch all the like rolling codes and the frequency to this device, and it will store in this one. So so normally this guy, the victim, will feel suspicious, and why the car is not locked. So he will just initiate the log code again. So for at that time we will just stop the jamming signal, and that time this guy will be able to like lock the car, and the car also get that code, so it will work. So and the the victim will go away. So in that scenario, what happening is that this hacker who's able to access the code which was initiated the first time, he can replay that code when he's not here. So this is the basic concept of replay attack. Okay, because in some cars there are rolling code enabled, like rolling codes there. But as I tested in my car, it's a like Creta. I didn't find any rolling code because I was able to like intercept the unlock my car without using any this kind of jamming purpose. I was able to uh, I was able to intercept my car's data, the wireless signals through my the hacker device. I just will, which I will just inform the later slides. Okay, so next is jamming. So what is jamming? So jamming is nothing but it's just like producing a dummy packets. So let us consider scenario. This is a sender and this is a receiver. So this should be the actual communication medium. So the sender is sending a packet called as X. So the jammer, so what the attackers do is that first of all they scan the frequency in which the sender is trying to transmit data to the receiver. So when he is able to get the frequency range, he will initiate this frequency and attack at the same frequency range by sending a deauthentication packet, which is also known as dummy packets. It's nothing but it will be actually containing a zero value, means null value. So there won't be any data. So we are injecting this data into the original path, which should be used by the receiver. So what's happening in the receiver side is that the receiver is getting confused which one is the original one and which is the duplicate. So in that scenario, the receiver is not able to understand and it is confused. So he won't be able to receive any data. So in that so that's the case how the jammer actually works. So there are different kind of jammers which can be used for different purposes. So yeah, and about injecting data. So this is a small photos which I took from the web series known as Mr. Robot. So actually what's happening in this scenario is that this lady is having a fully automated and like smart home kind of setup. So she is able to control all the devices through this device. So actually what's happening is that in this diagram we can see the complete details. All the devices which is connected to in the home is connected to a Wi-Fi. So what the hacker can do is that he can first of all scan. He can first of all come to the house nearby to house and he can scan what's actually happening. Okay, so what is the Wi-Fi range now? And if he's able to get the Wi-Fi access, he can inject malicious payloads and malicious data into the Wi-Fi, and he can make all the devices which is running over the Wi-Fi in a irregular manner or in any manner, because because once if the attacker gained the access to this Wi-Fi, he can do anything, which is anything, because in this scenario all the smart devices connected to this Wi-Fi, right? So he can do anything. So that's what's happening in this situation also. So what happened was that a hacker, that his name is Renderman, he was able to inject ghost airplanes into the radar of the airplane radar. So what happened was that uh, the ADSB is a service which is mainly used by uh, flight control systems. So the provider of ADSB has stated that it is very much secure and all, but the hacker named Haynes, he has explained that it is not at all secure. It's totally unencrypted, even if they are saying that it's encrypted. So he was able to get all the details, like showing this ADSB was showing all the details, like showing aircraft IDs, altitude, latitude, longitude. It's like giving precise location of the airplane, actually where it's like flying. So he was able to intercept the data, and he was able to inject fake airplanes also. So this vulnerability he was able to uh, he was able to explain by the explained. Okay. Okay, so analyzing SDR. So SDR is nothing but a software-defined radio. So this is the cheapest radio, software-defined radio which can be buy, because it's like $25 only. So what it actually does is that it is mainly used for analyzing the radio frequency and the spectrum, because it is not having a capability to transmit data. It is only able to receive and analyze what is happening in the radio frequency. So the frequency range for this one is like 500 kilohertz to 1 gigahertz. It's a lot more, because in that frequency range, most of the devices which are used in our common daily life is mainly used. And if you are able to change the antenna to a greater one, we can even like access to a long distance also. because the distance depends upon the antenna, not in the device. So yeah, so RTLSDR is a basic device by which we can get start into this radio spectrum and analyzing and hacking and all. So the next device is like yardstick one. So it's basic. So it's a bit more higher because it's having a range from it. So the main purpose of this yardstick one is that it can transmit and receive digital signals. Unlike the RTLSDR, it does not have like it's only having receiving, right? But this one is having both transmission and receiving. So this range is same. It's up to 1 gigahertz. So it can scan and receive and transmit any data, anything to this 1 gigahertz band. Sorry. And the capability is that it's half duplex. Half duplex is like we can either transmit or receive at any one time. Okay, so that's so in later slide I will explain later in detail. Sorry. So official frequency, the official operating frequency for this yardstick one is this one, as you can see, because it's from 300 to 348 megahertz, 391 to 464 megahertz, and from 780 to 928 megahertz. So officially this will work at the yardstick one will work in this particular operating frequency in a more stealthy way. Unofficially it work on many frequencies, not only this one, it can work on different frequency also. So these are modulation patterns, and the problem is that the data is like 500 kb per second. So a huge amount of data cannot be sent at a time because the software, the hardware requirements is only that much. The 500 kb data can be only sent. So it's like full USB 2.0. So the next one is HackerOf1. It's a good one to start with. It's a good SDR to start with because it's having both transmission reception from 1 megahertz to 6 gigahertz. So actually, I'm also using the same one. Actually, it's a good like SDR to start with because like it is having a lot higher range of radio frequency range, and it's a like half duplex transceiver also. So in this one also it can only do one task at a time. So it's so HackerOf is mainly compatible with GNU Radio Companion, which is mostly run on Pen2 Linux and SECARMY and GQRX and stuff like that. And the one thing I like is that the transmission receiving gain can be controlled by the software itself. So, suppose if you are initiating an attack, and if we don't want to initiate the attack in higher frequency, like high frequency, we can just reduce it also, but it will work in the same frequency. And the antenna power is also like controlled by software, because suppose if you are like launching an attack and against some kind of like anyone, so if that the other side, like the attacker is able to like understand this, if someone is like intercepting our data, that is more vulnerable, right? So that's more problem to so that will make more problem to ourselves. So in that case, we can just reduce the power of antenna also. It's like working in 2.0 USB at a high speed, and the main advantage that I found is that it's open source hardware. Okay, so in open source hardware, what we can do is that we can make our own like programs, and we can run through our HackerOf, because the all the hardware which is required is inside the HackerOf one, and we just need a software. So if we want, we can just depend on this kind of like compatible softwares like GNU Companion, STR Sharp, QRX, or if we want, we can make our own hardware and we can work. We can test different frequencies error. Okay. So the last one is like Blade RF. So I don't know if everyone is aware of the Blade RF. So it's a more advanced version of all the rest of the SDR, because it's also having same transmission receiving frequency like capability. The frequency is a little bit different from HackerOf. It's from 47 megahertz to 6 gigahertz. Okay, so that's the frequency range. So the main advantages is that it's full duplex support. It's having full duplex support, and by full duplex, I'm saying that it can communicate in both directions same time. Even if it's even if it's like send a transmission, or even if it's like receiving, it can be used both for same at the same time. So I will just tell in the later slides. So it's mainly work with USB 3.0, so it is faster than the rest of the devices, and it supports in Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. So it's a good one, and it's a bit expensive also. So that's the main problem. Okay, so the SDR scan applications can be used for different varieties of stuff, even like used as a police radio scanners, listening to ambulance, because they're also using a wireless medium, right? Like UHF and VHF radio. And so these are the things by which like we can scan and analyze, even if it's a GSM signals. Also, we can intercept and listen to satellite communications also. Like if we want, we can just intercept the data which is transmitted from weather satellite, or even if from the communication satellite, which is used by our home for the setup box and all. So that kind of communications also can be intercepted, and we can just use it. And the main uh, advantage is that it can be used as an IMSI catcher. So IMSI catcher is like I said, advanced version of the later slides. Okay, so we'll talk about half duplex. So what is half duplex? So I mentioned before, any one party can communicate at a time. Okay, so if this guy is trying to communicate, this guy cannot transmit any data. He's because he is the sender and he is the receiver. So half duplex work in that way. And same and vice versa in this case also. If this guy is transmitting, this is not able to transmit. So the half duplex works in this manner. So HackRF is a similar one as I mentioned before. So in full duplex, what's happening is that both the transmitter and receiver is able to communicate at same time. As we can see, our phone is also like a full duplex only, because when we are trying to call someone, we are able to speak and listen at the same time, right? So full duplex is something like that. So the computer requirements that is required to run a hack RF attack, I mean, sorry, RF attack, the radio frequency attack. So there is some requirements, but the minimum, like the requirement for running or initiating a radio frequency attack is like the minimum range is like 512 MB RAM, or at least 2 gigahertz, sorry, 2 GB storage, because that is the minimum requirement. So we can use this kind of device like Raspberry Pi or Raspberry Pi Zero W. So I'm using both because I like to work with it. This one is like Raspberry Pi 3, and this Raspberry Pi Zero W, which I just recently bought it. So I was able to find one thing, that in Raspberry Pi Zero W we can use like we can use this Raspberry Pi Zero W and HackRF, and we can just access it through a shell, like secure shell, like SSH. So this is the basic setup, how we can access the HackRF through a Raspberry Pi. So the basic requirement for running a Raspberry Pi is like it should be either running in Raspbian OS or Kali Linux, which is specifically made for Raspberry Pi. So in that, if we are able to boot it in as micro SD card, we can just plug it in, and we can just run the GQRX command, or we can directly install GNU Radio Companion, and we just it's like we can just power it, and just there is a 4 USB peripherals, so we can just like attach our HackRF and we can use it by using. I meant we can use this Raspberry Pi wirelessly over SSH secure shell. Okay, so what's happening is that it's a method to get a terminal. Uh, okay, so it's getting a terminal of the Linux distribution by which we can control HackRF. So in this slide, you can see how we can communicate. We can access HackRF from our terminal. So this is the basic command, and this is the like what all are the like possibilities we can use for by the HackRF. And HackRF sweep is something different, because HackRF sweep, what it does is that it just scans the whole Wi-Fi range in a same time. Suppose, as I mentioned, HackRF is having uh, frequency range from 1 megahertz to 6 gigahertz, right? So this this HackRF sweep is a software. It actually basically run in uh, like terminal mode only. But if you are using for the like GUI version, we can go for Q spectrum analyzer. So that is a good tool. So what's happening is that the Q spectrum analyzer is able to like initiate the launch from 1 megahertz to 6 gigahertz. So it's not because the HackRF is transmitting and receiving transmitting data for its maximum capability, because it's actually running from 1 megahertz to 6 gigahertz, right? So it's initiating a launch altogether at one time. So that's the main thing. So as far as the portability is concerned, it is very much easy, because this kind of heavy setup is not required by this Raspberry Pi. Because if you're connecting our HackRF to the Raspberry Pi, we can just connect to the Raspberry Pi via SSH. So by that, we don't need to carry all lot of like keyboard, mouse, and all kind of wires. So we just need, just as I mentioned before slide, a power bank, a Raspberry Pi, and a HackRF is only required for initiating this attack. So there is another method also. If you want to use a HackRF in a standalone mode, this is the best method, because it's the typical way by how we can access the HackRF through our laptop. So this is a basic photo of like GQRX. So this is a software which is used to run the HackRF, the hardware. Okay. So if you want to use the device, we first need to plug it in the computer, and we can just launch this software-defined radio program, which is like GQRX, and we are ready to go, and we can analyze the radio frequency spectrum now. But in standalone mode, what we're doing is that we can there's a hardware which is known as Pota Pack. So it is available in Amazon.com. So what it actually does is that this device is having the whole software which is used to run HackRF1. Like this device the software which is used is GQRX, right? So all the data, all the software which is required to be run on HackRF is embedded in this hardware. So if we are able to, like, when we connect this Pota Pack into HackRF, we are ready to go. We just need to give a power, and that is enough. And all the radio frequency analyzing stuff and everything is embedded in this device. So we don't need to carry our laptop. So this is like a standalone mode. So we just need to give a power. That's enough. Okay. So antenna is a major thing, because antenna is a like conversion device, right, for data transfer over the air. Because at the transmitting end, the electrical energy is converted directly into the electromagnetic waves, and it gets radiates into the free space, right? And at the receiver end, what is happening is that the electromagnetic waves directly converted into electrical signals, and it is analyzed by the receiver. So that is the basic functionality of antenna. So different kind of antenna can be used for access to long distance or short distance also. And since mobile phone is not capable to send data to a long distance, they are depending on cell towers. Okay, so you have also noticed that like when we are losing the mobile range, what's happening is that we are far from the cell tower. That's why we are not able to contact with the other person. So if you are having a like powerful antenna, and if you are able to like enable it in the phone, then we can just transmit data to a large distance. Okay. So this is the two types of antennas. First one is dipole antenna, and second one is dish antenna. So in dipole antenna, what's happening is that it's radiate the electromagnetic waves in a like circular pattern. So it will transmit the radio frequency to like everywhere. But in dish antenna, what's happening is that it will just transmit the Wi-Fi, the radio frequency to a particular point only. So in our home, we are using this kind of dish antenna for telecommunication process, right? So what's happening is that this kind of antenna is directly subjected to the site which is mainly used for communication, like the dish TV and all. So that kind of satellite is like a geostationary, right? So they won't ever change the location. So if we change the direction of this antenna, then we will not be able to like get the data from the satellites. So that's the main thing about this antennas. And if you're talking about the long range antenna, there are like range of any device can be increased by adding different types of antenna, right? So likewise, in Wi-Fi, if we want, we can increase the range of Wi-Fi also. If you are like if you're not able to get the Wi-Fi in your home to a long distance, we can just add a parabolic antenna. It also works as like a dish antenna only. But what's happening is that we can transmit our Wi-Fi signal to a long range in with a 17 dBi transmission. So like our home Wi-Fi will be available to kilometers. You can just YouTube it also, like how to make it and all. There are many YouTubers who have made this kind of like made the Wi-Fi range to long distance also, and that's actually working also. And in Hakarov, like the omnidirectional antenna can be used to capture data packets from satellites. Like different kind of omnidirectional antenna is there, which is actually mainly used for uh, receiving data from the satellites itself. So some hackers were able to intercept weather data from an NOAA weather satellite. So this was the image which was captured by this hacker phone by using this omnidirectional antenna, by using WX2ing software and STR star. By that kind of software, they were able to intercept the live weather forecast like images from the NOAA weather satellites. Okay, so let us talk about IMSI catcher. So as I mentioned, IMSI catcher it's like international mobile subscriber identity catcher. So what is this device? This is that it acts as a fake cell tower. So as you can see in this image, what's happening is that this victim is trying to contact someone else through this cellular tower. So what IMSI catcher does is that this IMSI catcher initiate like fake cellular tower. It will launch an attack like fake cellular tower, and he will force this victim to come to this fake cellular tower, and he will tell that, and he will just the IMSI what IMSI catcher does is that he will just uh, like send the actual communication medium to the authentication packet, and he will block it. And as a man in the middle attack, we can see this one, and this from this victim, he is able to intercept the data, and from here and from the catcher, he will directly redirect to the cellular tower. Okay, so that's the main concept about the fake cellular tower. So some people will be thinking that even if they are buying a small phones, which is like $1,000 and all, it is more secure. So actually, in real, it's not secure, because if you are looking into the radio frequency, like the cellular communication and all, it is not secure, because anyone can make this kind of IMSI catcher, and they can do the same step. So even if you're buying expensive phone, this kind of attack is vulnerable to that kind of attacks. So I know you are curious about build an IMSI catcher, right? I'm working on it to build this kind of software, because I'm also very much curious, right? And so actually, this both devices can be used to make a MC catcher. So the main problem with HackerOne is that, as you know, it's like half duplex. It is not perfectly like able to send or receive data like at the same time, because as I mentioned, half duplex can be only used for at a one time. Okay, so it is not possible to receive at the same time. So if you are using two hacker, then this method can be initiated. But in Blade RF, what's happening is that this is capable of doing both the transmission and receiving at the same time. So this one is more like adaptable to make a installation. So the main problem is that it's a little bit expensive, and who is very much like aware, and who is like who know everything like about the doing things with RF, like sorry, the paid RF and the radio frequency, they can go for this option. Okay, so in today's world, actually the Stingray IMSI catcher is available. The Stingray is it's a IMSI catcher which was mainly made for the military and communication purposes. which was made by manufactured by the Harris Corporation. It's an international company. So they have made this uh, MC catcher kind of device. So it looked like this. So what happened was that like this kind of stingray kind of device can be hidden inside any device, any truck or anywhere, and it will forcefully redirect all the people who is near to them. And as I mentioned, all people will be able to like go to the cellular tower through the input catcher. So in that case, the security is also not there, and this person who is using the input catcher, he can intercept the data. So yeah, so that's the main purpose about this one. So it's actually like, as I mentioned, it's like mimicking a cellular tower, not to force all nearby phones, right? So so it should do that only. If you have any questions, I can just reply it now. Okay. So someone is links to purchase this kind of. Yeah, you can just go to like you can just, if you're interested in making the MC kind of device, you can go for paid RF, because that is more, like that's more easy, because it's expensive, but it is like we can make it, like we can make an MC out of that. Yeah, so that's it, I guess. So, so thank you, SECARMY, for providing me opportunity to deliver my presentation and view and hear about the radio frequency and stuff. So that's it. So I think you all viewers will be aware of the radio frequency stuff and what is around us. So I hope everyone should stay safe. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.